A few years ago, my astral body was brought to a place that seemed kind of familiar, but I did not immediately recognize it. I was sent there because I was meant to meet them again, face to face. The welcoming beings that inhabit that world flew me around while I was sitting on their backs. I was given an aerial tour of their planet. I hadn't yet had an Akashic record reading client come up as a starseed from this realm. Nonetheless, there was this urgency from these beings, for me to discuss them publicly and have an artist drawing done of them. Not yet, I said. I need to test this channeled information out before I go public. While I took my sweet time, these beings started anonymously contacting others around me who could hear them, giving these people messages to relay to me that I don't have to read for these clients before I can talk about them and where they are from. Now, being accurate is of utmost importance to me. Therefore, any new information I come across must be tested beforehand. No exceptions. Eventually, clients originating from this realm did start coming to me for readings. These benevolent creatures, while pushy, when they want something done, are gentle giants and have been instrumental in the setting up of our planet. They have been reaching out to others around the world and really want to be known more by us on Earth. So let me ask you a question. When you think of a mythical creature that embodies strength and power, what first comes to mind? Let me introduce the Phoenicians, the birthplace of the dragons. Greetings. Thank you for joining me. My name is Erin and I'm an Akashic record researcher and galactic channel. We're going to discuss a popular and somewhat already known race of galactic beings. When I was a teenager, I was physically brought to their world for some training, so I do have some firsthand knowledge of them. In this video, we're going to disclose where these often talked about creatures, the dragons, originate from. There are several different species of dragons that do share a universe with us. Some dragons are considered animals and not the humans on most planets. However, we're going to discuss and focus on where the dragons are the humans of their world, which would be considered the dominant species. That planet has the Bayer designation of Gamma Phoenicians in the Phoenix constellation. Unlike most of the other realms I've covered thus far, this planet does not have an Arabic name, and the beings prefer to be known on Earth by their Bayer designation name. Those that inhabit Gamma Phoenicians are massive, benevolent dragons. And I'm not talking humanoid beings with dragon-like features, but actual dragons. So they are not only fictional characters in fairy tales, dragons are very real. Like the Ankans and the Syrmas, who were previously featured in this series, there are many galactic races that are anthropomorphic, which means non-human appearing entities that have human characteristics or attributes. These anthropomorphic races are just as spiritually, emotionally, and mentally evolved, or maybe even more so, than we humans are on Earth. In fact, these dragon beings that call Gamma Phoenicians home are in the 12th dimension. The Gamma Phoenicians have always been in the 12th dimension and haven't had to go through a painful ascension like we are experiencing currently. They are also referred to as the seed of all dragon races in our universe. To clarify what I mean when I say the seed of all dragon races, the Gamma Phoenicians are the primary DNA source for all dragon-like species, regardless of what planet they may live on. So any subspecies of dragons that exist first started with the genetics from the Gamma Phoenicians. And I'm told that there are 22 other dragon species in existence. However, I have not met most of them at the time of this recording. All other subspecies, besides the Gamma Phoenicians of dragons, are considered animal life and not the human life that inhabit a planet. A few planets that have various subspecies of dragons living there are Arcturus, Lyra, Alderamin, and even Gamma Phoenicians. Yes, believe it or not, there are more than one species of dragon residing on planet Gamma Phoenicians. These subspecies of dragons tend to be smaller in size and have slightly different body types and colors than the Gamma Phoenicians themselves. Being an Arcturian starseed soul, I have past life memories of riding on the back of a flying fuchsia-colored dragon as a way of transportation over longer distances. This is a common practice on Arcturus, and they have a good relationship with their dragon friends there. So what do these Gamma Phoenician dragons look like? Well, firstly, they are huge creatures, although they will vary in size a bit. From nose to tip of the tail, they're usually 150 to 200 feet or 46 to 61 meters long. Height to the top of their shoulder is approximately 35 feet or 11 meters. And they have 4 legs that are all similar in size as they either walk on all 4 legs or fly. These beings have majestic white feathered wings and have a wingspan of almost 100 feet or 30 meters. There is a row of the same white feathers along their spines, starting at the shoulders to the very tip of their tails. Their bodies are powerful and stocky, but despite this dense and kind of heavy appearance, they can fly in the air effortlessly. In fact, they enjoy showing me their aerial maneuvers. They can dive, quickly switch directions, and fly amongst themselves as if they weigh no more than a feather. These dragons have big claws on all 4 feet and large, intimidating, sharp teeth. Yet their personalities are gentle and almost passive. One of my first questions to them is if they can breathe out fire, but I was told that they cannot breathe fire. Fire or no fire breathing capabilities. I still wouldn't recommend anyone mess with them. Their entire bodies, except for their wings and inside of their ears, are scaly, and the scales are smooth and reptilian-like. I did ask if they would be considered a reptilian race, and they said no, because even with their scaly skin, they can regulate their own body temperatures. So they are no more reptilian than any of our earthly bird species. While their feathered wings are always white, their scaly skin comes in a variety of colors. I have seen green, greenish gray, neutral gray, and bluish gray Gamma Phoenicians myself. One Gamma Phoenician starseed, who's an Akashic record reading client of mine, remembers a life when she was a red queen dragon. And when I inquired about this with the dragons, I was told that no, they cannot change their natural skin color. However, rarely a dragon can be red in color, and that denotes a mating female with desirable DNA. Therefore, a red dragon would only be female and would be called a mating queen. Now, not all female Gamma Phoenicians are red, and even non-red female dragons can mate. It just seems as though the red queens are mated with more frequently and may be more revered in their society. Gamma Phoenicians can speak with each other in 2 ways. The first is silently through telepathy, as that's how they communicate with me and amongst themselves. However, they can also talk to each other using a sonar system, like kind of how bats on Earth communicate. I observe them using sonar while they are flying around each other. Now, sonar is not to be confused with echolocation, where a sound is emitted and obstacles are detected by listening to the types of echoes that bounce off those nearby structures. Echolocation is not how these beings use sound. Instead, one being will make a noise which creates a vibrational sound wave that is unique to that individual and kind of like their call signal system. These dragons are not blind and can see well in the daytime, but do struggle to see well when it's dark. Perhaps this is where the sonar communication is most helpful, especially in flight during nighttime. The planet Gamma Phoenicius looks a lot like Earth, but it's much larger. However, there are no cities and everything is kept in its natural state. The main difference I see is that there are 4 white suns of varying sizes that move around the sky. Now, these suns are not particularly hot. It's still a very green and lush environment there. It's not deserty at all. The colors in nature there seem purer and more vibrant to me. There are oceans, vast grassy plains, and huge mountain ranges. There's no pollution or buildings dotting the landscape. It's simply a celebration of the realm as it naturally is. Their world looks like what we would consider like a medieval fantasy, or a recent pop culture reference would be like the Game of Thrones TV series. And to be clear, I've never watched the Game of Thrones series myself. I do know that dragons were prominently featured. So if those who watch the show can share any parallels to what I'm presenting here, please share that in the comments. In addition to the dragons, there are also unicorns with varying coat colors who live there, meaning not all unicorns on Gamma Phoenicis are white with a yellow horn like we would imagine. The unicorns are their planet's version of horses, and these two species live together side by side harmoniously, but I don't feel like they interact much. Gamma Phoenician society does have leadership in place. Again, this isn't any kind of oppressive governance. There's only one leader at any given time, and I was shown the leader as a dragon wearing a crown. Now, this is not to be confused with the red dragon with 7 heads, 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head, as referenced as the biblical depiction of Satan himself in Revelations 12:3. This leader dragon that I met is not representative of Satan at all. He is a benevolent soul and is not red and only has 1 head, no horns, and only 1 crown upon his head. In our earthly view, one celebrated leader and no established democratic process could be seen as a dictatorship of sorts. However, it doesn't feel dictatorial. They have a lot of freedom in their society and they seem very content. And whenever a realm reaches such a high dimension, such as the 12th dimension, the concern about someone abusing their power is kind of virtually non-existent. Gamma Phoenicians live to be about 1,000 years old. They are omnivores, eating both meat and vegetation. They show themselves frequently eating this large orange fruit that grows plentifully on trees around their planet. The weather is temperate on their world despite all of their suns. So they live outside and really don't need dwellings. They do not have family structure as we do. They tend to have non-monogamous relationships. The females will raise their own offspring. But this is not to say that the males don't care about their children. It's just not thought of as my child by them. A baby dragon is just another soul brought into their world that's just as important as all the others who live there. The Gamma Phoenicians are happy with their uncomplicated and natural way of existence. Life is fun and enjoyable there, with no serious conflict amongst themselves. They tend to approach obstacles as they arise with both a sense of humor and a neutral stance. The Gamma Phoenician dragon race maintain a very neutral stance in the universe as well. They do not participate in the Galactic Federation of Light and have never been involved in any wars on any planet. However, this does not mean that they're not willing to assist others. So the Gamma Phoenicians are knowledgeable about civilization building and bring a unique energy to a realm that can be quite beneficial. They have been involved in the setting up of planets, but I wouldn't really refer to them as blueprinters or what some call Anunnaki. They just kind of lend a hand with some projects where their help can be useful. This dragon race is very interested in Earth and its potential. Earth also kind of reminds them of their own planet. As I mentioned earlier, the 2 planets do look very similar, except for the multiple suns, of course. But other planets they have previously had a hand in civilization building are Lyra, Hadar, and Polaris, just to name a few. The Gamma Phoenicians in their actual dragon bodies, meaning not starseed souls incarnating into human bodies, did live on and visit Earth between 100,000 and 50,000 years ago. They were assisting in preparing Earth for the Earth souls to begin incarnating on their new home world. Souls from other planets, or starseeds, were first here setting up Earth more than 250,000 years ago. But the Earth souls began incarnating here as their home world just around 60,000 years ago, once things were more established here. The dragons do not use technology or have any ships, but they did arrive to Earth via portals, which are still around today. One of the main intergalactic portals on Earth is in Egypt. This is why so many pyramids were built there and why Egypt holds a special interest, both for the dragons as well as other alien races, both good and bad. Additional intergalactic portals, which were open back then but may or may not still be active, are in Greenland, Singapore, Iraq, and Armenia. However, I was told that Egypt was the main one. Once the Earth souls began arriving, dark forces eventually infiltrated the once glorious Earth. The dragons had to then leave Earth for their own safety, and they did not return. Despite being treated poorly by some on Earth, they are still interested in our planet and want to help. This is why the image of the dragon has been so pervasive in many cultures. Some dragons have been reaching out to others who channel interdimensional beings, but their true planetary location has been undisclosed. Until now, that is. They would like to return to Earth in the future, and they're slowly making their universal presence known. We are now at the part of the video where we're going to explore two controversial concepts. Ancient and modern Chinese culture celebrates the dragon imagery and folklore. The Year of the Dragon is considered the most auspicious and powerful year in the Chinese zodiac. Many ancient Chinese emperors implemented the dragon into their family crests and ceremonial clothing. The dragon is literally everywhere in Chinese culture, even today. And this is not random and has a purpose. The land we now call China was overtaken very early by dark entities. It was an early stronghold of evil on Earth. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not implying in any way that the Chinese people are bad. Not at all. There is nefarious and very ancient history between the dragons on Earth and the land we now call China. Those who were living there, and were not good people, enslaved and killed many dragons. This brutal extermination was instrumental in the decision for the dragons to leave Earth. And this is not to imply anything against the men, women, and children living in China or of Chinese descent. The dragons do not hold any anger towards the Chinese, only those who intentionally harm them. Therefore, this symbol of the powerful dragon originally evolved as an insult to the dragon race, like, haha, we defeated you, so now we hold the power. This is the genesis of why dragons are viewed as such powerful figures, especially in Chinese culture, as they were the mighty creatures who were defeated by those wishing to enslave Earth. Many cultural references from all around our world have been very different original meanings than we now understand them. Taking this dragon lore even deeper, the second controversial take, many of those unearthed dinosaur bones were from dragons that were killed. It's no surprise that our understanding of what those ancient dinosaurs who roamed the earth hundreds of millions of years ago look a lot like the game of Phoenicians. Scaly, hairless skin, wings, sharp teeth, and all. I hope you enjoyed learning about this high-dimensional and peaceful dragon race. The Game of Phoenicians care deeply about Earth and its inhabitants. They have been reaching out and communicating with others on Earth for many years, and they're testing the waters and creating kind of a slow reveal, like many other ET races. Could you imagine living during a time where massive dragons walked the Earth? How far away do you think we are from accepting something like this as a world population? Any ET groups mentioned in this video that I've made videos about before will be linked below in the show notes. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, kindly subscribe to the channel and check out my other videos highlighting other previously unknown galactic races in our universe. Should you want to have your Akashic record read by me, the link to the website is below. In the meantime, I love you all, and welcome to a higher dimension.